subject. And people like Louis XIV or 50 Cent, the sort of combination of historical and contemporary figures, I noticed that they all shared certain qualities and they had gone through a similar kind of apprenticeship and process. So the book itself is sort of a synthesis of all my other work. It's sort of what I consider to be the ultimate form of power, which is mastering your field and being creative. If you have a mind that now is so enriched with knowledge and knows your field so well, you can make all kinds of interesting associations between different ideas and see things that other people don't see. That's like the philosopher's stone of power. You can be in any situation in life. You could be stranded on an island, you could be fired. You'll get yourself back to the top because you know how to think and you know how to be creative. The key to it all is knowing who you are. And what I say is, it seems poetic, but it's not actually poetic. All of us are born unique, and scientifically, your DNA will never be replicated, never happened before, never will happen again. There is something about you that's unique. Now, you could say the same thing about a duck or a lamb, but they don't have consciousness. They can't express their uniqueness. A human being can. This uniqueness that you had when you were born manifested itself by certain things you were drawn to. You were drawn to games, strategy, chess, you know, that you'd be like a Napoleon, or you're drawn to music, or you were drawn to visual patterns, or you were drawn to sports and things like that. It's very primal, and it's showing something about you that's unique. And I compare it to a kind of a voice that's inside of you. It's a voice that you're 5 or 6 years old that's sort of saying, this is what you're interested in, Robert, or this is what you really like, Allison. And as we get older, that voice tends to become drowned out by your parents who are saying, go to law school, be a doctor, I'm doing the Jewish parent here, or money's the prime thing, I gotta be comfortable, this is a tough world to live in. And that voice gets drowned out. And you know, in your 20s and 30s, you can kind of fake it. If you end up in a field like you go into law, and really, I mean, there are people who were maybe born to be lawyers. I have nothing against it. Abraham Lincoln loved law, and that maybe was his life's task. But a lot of people go into law, and that isn't their dream. It's not what they were drawn to as a child, you know. You can fake your way when you're in your 20s and 30s. Because you're young, life's exciting, you can make money, can be sort of a motivating factor. But what happens is you're less and less engaged in your work. You're not connected deeply. You're kind of bored. You're not paying deep attention. You're sort of skating by. And by your late 30s, it starts to catch up with you. And people are coming up who are younger than you, who are handsomer, who are less expensive. They replace you. You're downsized. You're out of a job. And suddenly you don't have the skills to adapt because you didn't really follow something you were meant to follow. And the people who know themselves, it's not a matter of just simply becoming a rock star and playing the guitar because that's what you felt like. You have to be practical. You have to find something that's related to your interests that you can live in and make money. But those are the ones that end up doing much better in their 30s and 40s, making more money and being a lot happier, not necessarily choosing that high-powered job when they were younger. So it's a matter of connecting with that voice that was very clear in childhood. I think the people who are experiment in their 20s, who learn different skills, who aren't so hung up on money, they're going to be the ones in their 30s and 40s who are going to be running this world, who are going to be making money, who are going to be found.
And I think that's a great point.
And I've seen it in, not only in history, but I have 80,000 examples of this, as I told you, of people like that. They're the ones that in their 30s and 40s are going to be running this world. They have built up so many different skills. And the other thing is, we all know this, when you're motivated, you can move mountains, right? So if you're learning a foreign language and you're kind of have to because it's a requirement in college, you're not really paying attention. If you have a French girlfriend and you're living in France and you like French literature, suddenly you're paying attention, and in 2 weeks you can learn more than what you learned in 2 years of French at the university because you're motivated. So when you're curious and excited about a field, you're going to learn it really well, and when you learn it really well, you enter this, what I call a cycle of accelerated returns. They call it in chemistry autocatalysis. one bit of success leads to another, leads to another. It sets in this sort of catalytic process where the mind suddenly jumps into gear and you become creative because you're motivated, and you can, if you learn something in 2 years intensely, it's 10 times the value than if you learned it in 10 years. So motivation is the key to mastery, and you're not going to be motivated if you are destined to be a writer and you're studying law. You can ignore what I'm saying here, but, you know, good luck.